All right, Tuesday night, Raj is in the house. The Pig and a Pickle Krug Show. We're talking Niners, a lot to get to. Rookie minicamp coming up in a couple days. Let's go right now. There we go. Little different music there, but whatever. I'm not going to get them unglued. But welcome to the Krug Show Tuesday night. Raj in the house in our normal spot as we're talking Niners on this Tuesday night, and of course we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle. We're also brought to you by LearnKey. We should tell you great news for Krug Show subscribers. Our sponsor, LearnKey, it's got a brand new cybersecurity course valued at $99, and the course is titled Protecting Yourself and Your Organization. It's a 1 hour long course. It gives you essential tips to keep you and your company safe online. And it's a limited time offer, so don't miss out. Click the link in the description of the video and of the live stream, in this case, to claim your free course and start learning today at upskill.learnkey.com. And thanks to LearnKey Upskill Academy for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, Tuesday night, we're off and running. Post-draft, getting ready for rookie minicamp, then OTAs, waiting on Brock Purdy's contract. And why don't we start right there, Raj? Ian Rappaport weighed in today on the Purdy front. Here's what he had to say.
Deal going to get done soon or no?
I've not gotten the sense.
Is the Brock Purdy deal going to get done soon or no?
I've not gotten the sense that it'll get done soon, but it does at least seem like it's going in the right direction. Like Kittle's deal was sort of a little bit quicker. They got the Fred Warner deal they could do. Quarterback deals usually take longer, but it seems like it's positive and head in the right direction. Just we'll see if they get that good landing spot somewhere in the 50s to get Brock Purdy locked in long term.
And when would that be? A week before training camp? What do you think?
Usually it's like, is he going to sign right before training camp? And then if he doesn't, it's like he'll hold in a lot of times. But that's kind of the next. It's like mandatory minicamp deadline. Okay, sort of. Training camp deadline. That's kind of the next thing. So
we appreciate that. That's Ian
mid-June
Rappaport. We continue.
Yeah.
Hour 2 on the other side. See you then. Is the Brock Purdy deal going to get done soon or no?
There you go. Little McAfee breakdown there, and thanks to all the good people for allowing us to utilize that little nugget. Okay, so he thinks they're working towards it, but he doesn't think it's getting done soon. I kind of thought, if you asked me what's the deadline, I thought it would be the phase 3 of the OTAs, which is later on this month. And I kind of will hold to that. I really believe that Brock wants to be out on the field, and I don't see how he could be without this deal being done. So I would say, I know a lot of people say, well, right before training camp, but I just don't see Brock sitting out these OTAs, and I think he has to be signed to get it done. So I think he gets signed here in the next week to 10 days. What do you think, Raj?
Yeah, Ian Rappaport said a lot of nothing. He just said, wow, yeah. He said what everybody's been saying. Like, it's nothing new. There's no new information. People are trying to, speak on this storyline, the contract extension, so they can get some type of engagement out of it. You had Rossini last week where she said, I think it's closer than many people think. There's another Mike Jones from The Athletic. He said something similar. Like, he's pretty sure it's going to get done soon. It's not a matter of when, or not a matter of if, but when. I'm pretty sure my prediction the other day was he's going to sign it when mandatory minicamp starts, which, is in a couple weeks. I'd be shocked if it isn't. Brock's pretty much went on record saying, hey, he wants to make sure this is, painless and no drama. And Kittle today talked about, he was with Jennifer Lee Chan, and there's an article about it, how he says this offseason, there's no drama. Everything's getting done. And you can look back to last year. They signed Diamado Lenore to the extension. It just feels like everything's going as planned. I think it's going to be in the next couple of weeks. Like, I'd be surprised if it gets down to training camp. Let's put it that way. If they get into training camp, and they still haven't signed Brock Purdy, I would be shocked. I think the last contract that gets taken care of is Fred Warner, and that's going to be right before training camp. And everybody's like, oh, Fred signed, Brock signed, Kittle signed, let's go. That's the vibe I'm getting this offseason. I'd be surprised.
I think it's going to get done. I don't think we're going to have to wait too much longer. I think it's going to get done. It's interesting too, because Florio was saying, $55 million. I think it's set up for that the entire time, right? I mean, it's like you got guys making 60. You could say that, the ask could be 65. And yet, if you're in the mid 50s, I think that's probably right where he should be. So to me, it seems like if it gets done and Brock Purdy winds up with a salary in the mid 50s, there'll be a lot of unhappy Niner fans because it seems like there's a lot of people that want him on some bargain basement deal. But I think maybe a little bit more reasonable Niner fan, if I want to term it at that, would be satisfied that this deal is done and that it's officially in the rear view. I mean, the sky is falling approach that, they can't win if they're paying their quarterback X. You know what? You can't win. You can win if you pay your quarterback almost anything. You just have to be really good at building a team. And guess what? I don't care if you're paying your quarterback $900,000. It's not like it's just easy to build a Super Bowl champion. It's not. So, this idea that, suddenly they're going to pay him $50 million and that will eliminate them as a contender. No, I don't think so. It's going to make it more difficult for them to have, huge blunders. I mean, they're not going to be able to have a Trey Lance type blunder, while Purdy's making $50 million. But look at the Eagles. The Eagles just built one of the deepest rosters in pro football. They have a quarterback making north of $50 million. So it's hard to scream out at the top of your lungs, it can't be done, when the Eagles just did it.
Yeah, I think not only that, but I feel like just having a happy, cohesive team and like you said, look in the rear view. As long as there's no drama, I think this team is going to be happy. Again, I feel like this team is just in a different level. You have Trent Williams coming into voluntary minicamp, which he never does. He's usually in Texas. Nick Bosa's there. I just think that this team now knows, like, hey, last year was 6 wins. Let's get it together. And I think the other reason, these teams like the Rams and the Eagles, they're able to succeed is, they have some money spent on certain players, but they also draft well. And I think what the theme of these last couple of years is they got to build through the draft. And eventually there's going to be players that they have to pay, but I think now you have a good core, a good strong core of players. You got rid of a bunch of people, and hey, it is what it is. It's business, but you rebuild through the draft. Now, will those rookies step up and can they lean on them? I don't know. It's going to be some growing pains here and there, but I feel like that's what the Niners had to do is, okay, we're going to pay a quarterback, so we're going to have to save some money, and the cap space is going to go up every year. They have a lot of dead cap. So I think overall you can win with the quarterback, but it's just about how your coaching goes, how your team goes. Last year, they didn't have the good assistant coaches, right? Sorensen and everybody, they got rid of them. So in theory, if you've improved your coaches around Kyle Shanahan, you should be able to win. And then the other key is staying healthy. Last year, they were not healthy, and team was 6 wins because of it. So I think the factors are all kind of adding up this year. And I know a lot of people are going to argue about Brock Purdy's, value. Is he 50, 40, 50, 60, whatever? As long as you have a good team around him, it's not going to matter.
There was Bleacher Report had an interesting article out today about 4 trades that should still happen before the 2025 NFL season. One of them, it was a guy by name Alex Kay of Bleacher Report wrote it. And one of them was the Niners trading for Carolina Panthers edge rusher Jadeveon Clowney to bolster their defensive front. He's got, over the past 2 years, Clowney's got 15 sacks. 2 years ago, he had 9.5. He generated 78 total pressures during his 1-year stint with the Ravens. He's entering the final year of a 2-year contract that he signed with Carolina last offseason. Carolina just went after Nick Scorton and Princely Umamalian. So Kay says Clowney is definitely a trade candidate. He says the 49ers could be in the market for Clowney, Kay wrote. There's been a clear need in the Bay Area to assist Nick Bosa in the defensive trenches. The team didn't shy away from addressing that issue during the 2025 draft. utilizing a first-round pick to nab an edge rusher in Mikael Williams. But San Francisco could use more veterans in the mix to build out the type of deep, talented pass rushing rotation that propelled the Eagles to a Super Bowl a year ago. Clowney is a 3-time Pro Bowler. He's an 11-year veteran. He's got 58 career sacks. Niners have $46.4 million available on the cap. A lot of that's going to be going towards Purdy. Clowney is set to count $13.8 million against Carolina's cap, so they could save nearly $7.8 million by releasing him, and more if they actually wind up trading him. Kay added, San Francisco can easily fit Clowney's contract in and should only have to cough up a day 3 draft pick to get a deal done. What do you think, Raj? I mean, I haven't talked to you too much about the Niners' needs post-draft, but what do you think of making a somewhat low-cost move, if you're talking about a day 3 pick, move for Jadeveon Clowney to bolster the rush?
Yeah, I saw this earlier. You know what? If this was Clowney maybe 5-6 years ago, I'd be all aboard, but it's not. He's been in the league 11 years. This man, if you get him for a 7th round pick, maybe. I mean, you do need edge depth. You need some rotations in there, but the Niners said this offseason, hey, look, we're trying to get younger. Jadeveon Clowney, there's no way you're trying to get younger if you had this guy. I get it. You need a few veterans here and there, but I'd pass. Just hope that your younger guys can step up. And honestly, I don't think Clowney would really help us. If you're going to get a Clowney, you might as well have kept Leonard Floyd. Obviously, the money was, a big factor why they didn't. But no, I'm going to pass on Clowney. Hard pass on Jadeveon Clowney. I think his best days are way beyond him. I think he'd be, we talked about injuries, right? Last year, you had a lot of injury risks, a lot of players that miss games. I think Clowney would be a guy, you get him. How many games are you going to actually get out of him? How much are you really going to get out of a guy that's, 35 years old? That's, as an edge rusher, how much does he have left in the tank? So,
well, to me, it's all about timing with a guy like that. It's like, and now's not the right time. Now you got a lot of young guys, you got a lot of unknowns. This is too early in the year to be interested in Jadeveon Clowney. Go look at all the youngsters, all the undrafted prospects that intrigue you, all the camp tryouts you want. Look around in the preseason, see the way the rosters get paired. And then, if you get to that, the roster cut down in September, and you're looking around and he's the best option out there and you need a guy, then add him then. But I wouldn't add him right now. Veteran players like this, I'd either add him at the beginning of the year or in the middle of the year, not at this point. Go with younger options and see what can happen. One younger option who I would love to see, bounce back is Drake Jackson. And this guy's name's in the news now because I reached out to him to try to get him on the show. I don't know if I have his right contact or not, but Drake, I think, would come on the Krug show if he'd go on anywhere. We've had a great dialogue through the years. He last played in 2023. He played in 8 games. He landed on the IR. He spent all of last year on the PUP list because he had knee surgery the previous year and he just couldn't get back. He's got 23 career appearances. He's got 6 total sacks, 6'4", about 273 pounds. But according to Drake, he's confident that he can make an impact this year. He went on Instagram, Raj, and you probably were all over this.
Yeah,
he says, y'all crazy if y'all don't think I'm wrecking havoc on the field this year. That's what on his IG story. So he said, boomerang to all the haters. I got God on my side. See y'all suckers soon. I love it. Now, this guy's a hell of a guy. I don't know if you've ever met him, but he's a terrific guy. And this guy's a good talent too. He's entering the final year of his rookie contract. He's making $1.8 million on the cap hit this year. And this is it, right? This is it. You don't get forever in the NFL. He's had this quad tendon surgery, and it's a surgery that you just never know how you're going to bounce back and the timetable and all that. But man, Raj, if this guy could bounce back, man, this would really be a shot in the arm because we're talking about a young guy, big body, 270, long arms, can play inside, can play outside, can bat down passes. There's talent there. There's ability there if he can just get healthy.
Yeah, no, we posted that. We got him viral. I saw that. I was like, oh, this is going viral. I mean, because Drake Jackson, a lot of people didn't even know he was still on the team. Like when I posted that, it was like, oh, he's still on the team. Like it was a big post for him to say that because he's had a lot of, negativity towards it. It's a lot like Kinlaw, right? Kinlaw came in injured. He was a bust, and then he was talking, and he was like, I'm gonna go prove myself. And this is kind of like the same path as Kinlaw. So okay, I got to prove myself. This is his contract year. I hope he can stay healthy, but honestly, unlike you, Larry, I don't believe in Drake Jackson. I like the guy. I've talked to him. We've talked many times. We've had conversations. I've met him. Such a nice guy. Like I've talked to his dad. Me and his dad hung out at a game before, like many times. His dad's a super cool dude, and I have met him before. And I remember his rookie season. I was super hyped for this guy. I was like, okay, second round pick, USC. He looks like a big time guy. And I remember 3 sacks in one game against Pittsburgh. But that injury is
week 1.
I remember he was leading. He led the league in sacks at one point in his career, Larry. He led the league, but that injury, I don't know. It's a tough one to come back from, and he's had setbacks with it. Like I love the confidence. I like that he was like, "Oh yeah, you suckers better watch out, boomerang today." Like I was like, okay, I like that confidence, but you have to have confidence as a pro athlete, and especially being counted out. I just don't believe in Drake, and I don't think honestly, Larry, I don't know if he's gonna make this. On my prediction, it's early. I don't predict them making the 53-man roster.
It's not crazy. I was looking at the depth chart, so most teams keep 10 defensive linemen, right? So let's just count it. Bosa, Mikael Williams, and let's just say, they start with the veterans, Jordan Elliott, Kevin Givens. All right, there's your starting 4. Okay. Then your next 4, you got Gross Matos, you got Sam O, CJ West, Alfred Collins. So now you're at 8. And Evan Anderson's going to be on this team for sure. So now you're at 9. And then you also have, I think Teron Jackson is going to make it. And so there's 10. So everybody else is going to be up against it. Jonathan Garvin, Alex Barrett, Robert Beal, Kalia Davis. I'll tell you, there's another wild card. I was looking at some film. You know who's real? The Niners have a couple guys that really I didn't say much about in the draft, but man, this kid Sebastian Valdez that they got, who played at Montana State and played 1 year for the Washington Huskies. This guy's super intriguing. His workout numbers, he had 34 reps of 225. He's the strongest defensive tackle on the bench of any of the defensive tackles in the entire draft class. 34, number 1 in the entire draft class of not just defensive tackles. 34 reps was the most reps on the bench for anybody at any position in this draft class. He also ran 5.02 in the 40. That's top 10 among all defensive tackles in this draft class. He had a 1.72 10-yard split. That's top 5. He had a 4.46 short shuttle. That was the second best short shuttle of all the defensive tackles. So you watch this guy, and he's got power, 10-inch hands, big power player, destroys double teams, really dominates against the run. Kind of short arms, but really dominates against the run. So we'll see. I mean, that's another guy. I mean, who knows? Sebastian Valdez. Remember that name? Because he looks good. I mean, I'm telling you, he looks good. And they lined him up all over the place. He's 6'3", 300 pounds, but they lined him up as an edge rusher. They lined him up at 3 technique. They lined him up at the 5 technique and a 30-man front, 34 front, I should say. They lined him up all over the place. I mean, 3 technique, 1 technique, 9 technique. So I would say Sebastian Valdez is a guy to really keep your eye on.
He sounds like a guy that's going to land on that practice squad, and they bring him up and develop. That sounds like that. So See,
We shall see. This is also interesting. I thought this was really interesting. Jeff Chadia, who's a good friend, says that he's talking about several free agents and where the best team fits, and he thinks that the Niners are the best team fit for Asante Samuel Jr. You know, I kind of think this could, you got Upton Stout, and he's going to play that nickel spot, but he's a rookie, and you've got Bernardo and you got Demo. But to me, if you're really going to help, your football team win, I mean, the Niners are going to win this year anyway because the schedule is just a joke. But if you really want to have a big time year, another big time corner like Asante Samuel Jr. makes a lot of sense. I mean, supposedly, according to Chadia, he's going to be available at a very affordable price because the draft is over. The Niners lost Mooney Ward. They lost Yadam. They lost Rock Ya-Sin. This would be a nice player, man. This guy's had some neck problems. His tackling has not been great. He's had a lingering neck and shoulder injury. He's had some stingers. But if the neck checks out, Raj, this guy's a pretty good player.
Yeah, no, honestly, unlike the Jadeveon Clowney rumor or trade or whatever, that little tidbit that's going out there, I saw this one and I was, I wouldn't hate getting Asante Samuel on the team. I mean, obviously injuries and I talked about Clowney and the issues and stuff like that, but Asante Samuel is still relatively younger. A lot younger than Jadeveon Clowney. So you got a good solid base of cornerbacks, and I think Upton Stout definitely is the guy they're prepping to be that nickel guy. But you can have a guy like Asante Samuel kind of take away early, and maybe if he does get hurt, then boom, Stout can come in and then take that role and learn from him. But definitely doesn't hurt to have depth. I wouldn't mind having a guy like Asante Samuel. He's probably a veteran that I would like to have on this team. And, before training camp starts, there's going to be a veteran that every team tries to sign, or, they look at the roster. Oh, we could probably use him. So, yeah, definitely. If they could bring in Asante Samuel, I think it would help. I don't know if he's going to be a Pro Bowl type guy, but I think he's still got some really good years of football left. You give him a 2-year deal, and he could be a solid veteran as you continue to kind of develop Upton Stout. Because you got to also realize, I think he has talent, but the 49ers, their first 5 picks were rookies, and I don't know if all of them are going to start. I don't know if you can lean that heavily on a group of rookies. They're talented. I have a lot of high expectations for Alfred Collins and CJ West and Michael Williams and Nick Martin and Upton Stout. I have good expectations for them, but you need a few guys that have been in the league for a little bit to kind of lean on when the going gets tough. Yes, the schedule is tough, but if you just have rookies leading the way, at some point they're going to make some mistakes. They're going to go through their growing pains. They might get a little injured here and there. So it wouldn't hurt to add a good veteran to the mix, especially on the defense. Because last year, that defense was just poor. The more talent you get on this defense, the better.
If somebody asked me how many rookies will start for the Niners, I would say I think there's a very good chance that you could see maybe 6 defensive starters.
Wow. That's a lot.
And I would say maybe 1 offensive starter. The only guy on offense that I think could start might be Connor Colby at left guard.
Yeah.
As far as on the defense, I think Mikel Williams for sure starts. I think CJ West for sure starts.
Okay.
I think so. And then Alfred Collins, I think for sure starts.
Okay.
I think Nick Martin is going to for sure start.
He started,
and I think Stout is likely to start. And then the only one that would be a question would be Marquise Siegel.
Yeah.
Do you think Marquise Siegel? And some people think that Marquise Siegel is going to start, because he's got such great speed. It'll be interesting. He's a really interesting pick because he does run 4.3 and he is a great cover guy. And in a lot of ways, in a passing league, that's exactly what you need. So that could be a very interesting one. Who is the player, if you could go to rookie minicamp? I did a video on this today. Give me a player that you would really want to, if you could sit in the stands at rookie minicamp with binocs and take a look at the field, who would you want to look at during this rookie minicamp? Who are you interested in seeing?
All eyes for me are going to be all on CJ West. I'm all in on him already. That is my guy. I want to see the spin move on the center. I want to see him rip apart Jake Brendel and make him embarrassed. I need to see CJ West out there, Larry. That's the guy.
It's a good one. It's a good one. That's a great one, actually. CJ West would be a good one. I'm going to go. To me, there's a couple guys. One, Nick Martin. I want to see Nick Martin.
Yeah.
Just because Nick Martin to me is maybe the best player they drafted as far as just speed, instincts, tackles, and as a rookie, he's going to come in. I think he's going to come in and make an instant impact. So I like Nick Martin. I guess the other guy that I'd really love to see is this Corey Kiner, this running back from Cincinnati. Yeah, just because some of the numbers that he has as far as contact balance and that kind of thing are really good. And I'd love to see if he and Jordan James are, neither run a great 40 time. I'd like to see if we think they're fast enough to have success in the NFL. Because, Jordan James runs in the mid 4.5s. Corey Kiner runs in the mid 4.5s. Neither necessarily is a burner. How do they fit in and what do they look like in this backfield? I'm eager to see that. I'm eager to see those two guys, those two rookie running backs. I'll tell you the other guy I'm really eager to see just because of the crazy prototype that he is this Nebraska undrafted receiver, Isaiah Nayer. Because, you're talking about a guy who's 6'4", runs 4.4 flat, 35-inch arms, and massive 83-inch wingspan and 40-inch vertical. That right there, you don't see guys that are that big who are that fast with that arm length, with that 40 time, and with that vertical. It's just, you just don't see it. So, to me, I'm really eager to see if Isaiah Nayer can turn a dominant physical profile into production at the NFL level. He really couldn't produce that much in college. He's, that's the book on him is he looks great, but for whatever reason at Wyoming, Texas, and Nebraska, he couldn't really ever get it going. Now he had a pretty good year at Nebraska this year, but that guy is so intriguing that's a guy I really want to see.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited for training camp. I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait to see everybody. I feel like this off season, again, like I said earlier, is like, I think everybody's hungry. I think the fans are really expecting a better season, a bounce back year. You look at the schedule coming out next week. It's going to be the easiest in the league from, Walter Sharp was saying. And I think just the optimism's kind of sparking across. Not everybody. There's still people that are like, this team sucks, Brock sucks, O-line sucks. It's not like this team's without issues, but I'm pretty damn excited for training camp and to see these battles and O-line, like Connor Colby. Can he win that left guard spot? Like, that is a huge battle that I'm super excited. That's another rookie guy I didn't mention. Colby, I'm actually, other than CJ West, the other one I really, really, really got to see is that left guard spot, because that was basically really the only O-lineman that we drafted. I know they picked up another guy and, undrafted, but
Drew Moss. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the guy I think that can actually be a starter. And I want to see him go out there. Can he beat Burford? Can he beat Ben Barch? And if he beats those guys, what the heck's going to happen to those guys? Are they going to get a chance to maybe take Jake Brendel's spot or Colton McKivitz? And I'm excited to see that O-line battle, because you ask any Niner fan right now, they'll tell you O-line's terrible. They need to upgrade. We'll see.
Yeah, they like their O-line. Now, I'll say this. The two guys that they did get, Drew Moss and Connor Colby, look to be really intriguing prospects. Moss played right guard and right tackle and was a very accomplished player at Colorado State. And then Colby, Colby made 50 starts. This guy's one of the most experienced players. And it's funny. It's like his position coach made a great point. He's like, the guys who are really good find their way to the field. And if you love to play, you find your way to the field. And if you don't like to play, you find your way off the field. So for a guy at a program like Iowa to have 50 starts, and this guy started right away as a freshman, he's like, his position coach, I think he said it to Guy Haberman. He's like, he's going to be out there. In other words, this guy shows up to play. He's durable. He doesn't miss starts. And all he's got to do is beat out Ben Barch and Spencer Burford, and he's been playing at a pretty high level on a really good Iowa team that had a really good run game. So I'm eager to see Connor Colby. I will not be surprised at all. And I mentioned this to Brian Baldinger when I had a Baldy on yesterday. I said, hey, Baldy, I said, I would not be surprised if Connor Colby goes from Iowa's 7th round pick to starting for the 49ers. He's like, I can see it. He's like, I can see it. He's like, he played at a real high powered program. He's well coached. He's got a ton of experience. They got a need there. He's a really good run blocker. And yeah, he doesn't have great arm length, but these guys have been doing it at Iowa, and he's just a really well coached prospect. So, and you can see it. It's funny too, because it's funny. I watched his film, and I spent like a half hour watching his film. And then I went on Twitter, and somebody was like, I watched this film for 10 minutes, and I'm like, turned it off and thought this guy's garbage. And I'm like, what? Are you watching the same film I'm watching? I mean, this guy walls people off. He's very veteran. He's very, very smooth and veteran-like.
Again, like you say, he's played for years, a handful of years. So he's not coming in inexperienced like a lot of people coming out of college. Had a good pedigree. And in Iowa, if you don't do one thing but block in Iowa, you go out of that college and you have to learn. You play football there, you better learn how to damn block. So I think I think honestly, we might have another Dominic Pooney on our hand. It's early. I know it's early, but imagine if we can get Pooney and Connor Colby, Niner fans are gonna owe this front office an apology for actually taking the lineman, and it panned out. But it's early. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I really feel like we could have 2 future like guards that are going to be on this team for at least 4 or 5 years that we're going to have. And it's like, oh, wow. Okay. Fixture offensive lineman. So I think we can.
I'm going to tell you the guy that I'm looking forward to watching this weekend. He doesn't even have a spot yet. They're giving him a tryout. The Niners are trying out. Let me see if I have the list here. They're trying out. Yeah, here it is. Jack Howell, a defensive back from Colorado State, who was a tackling machine for Colorado State. Tristan Sinclair, a linebacker from Stanford. Bentley Hanshaw, whose dad one time played for the Niners, Tim Hanshaw, out of BYU. He's a tight end from Liberty. And then Ty French. Now, Ty French is an interesting name. That's the guy I'll be looking at. We were talking about, maybe sign a Jadeveon Clowney. I want to take a look at all the Ty Frenches of the world before I get to Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
Ty French, Raj, played at West Virginia this year for Neil Brown. He's played his whole career at Gardner Webb, and he transfers. He's I don't know if he's married, but he has a little baby girl. He wanted an NFL career. He had been totally dominant at Gardner Webb, so he transferred to West Virginia this year. But at Gardner Webb, he was one of the best pass rushers in the FCS level. The guy had 34 and a half career sacks and 7 forced fumbles. Big time player. But he went to West Virginia this year, and even though he was at West Virginia, he had 22 tackles and 2 tackles for loss, but he didn't get a single sack. And he didn't. And I saw him interviewed, and he's like, man, at Gardner Webb, I could just beat all the tackles out of my stance and just, go right by him. At West Virginia, the offensive linemen were a lot better. So this guy is obviously raw and needs to be coached, but the Niners are bringing him in for a workout. He was a finalist for the 2022 Buck Buchanan National Player of the Year Award at the FCS level with 12 and a half sacks, 75 tackles, and 16 tackles for loss. And then, as I said, transferred to West Virginia. But man, 34 and a half career sacks at Gardner Webb. Now, I'm eager to see. I'll say this: he's 6'3", 230. He's a Georgia athlete. He's an incredible athlete. He grew up in the state of Georgia. And he's just, we're talking about 6'3", 230 who runs in the 4.5s. Now, I don't know what the Niners are going to do with him, because 230 is probably too small to be a defensive end and Chris Kasarek's wide 9. So I don't know if he can be a defensive end. We're going to find out. Or maybe he's a linebacker. But he's a crazy athlete, and he had an amazing career at Gardner Webb. So the Niners are trying him out. Ty French is his name. I'll be looking to see what he looks like. on
Are
Thursday,
you
on
going
Friday
to?
and
Are you going to
Saturday.
be at rookie?
I'll be there
minicamp?
Friday. Yeah, I'll be there
Okay.
Friday.
That's
I'm
good.
going to go down Friday.
Yeah. I got to know all the 411, all the tea on the kicker, on Kenny the kicker. I need to know about Kenny the motherfucking kicker. That's all I care about. Is he going to be better than Jake Moody? I want to know about Kenny.
What do you know about Kenny Almendarez from
The
the
Lou
Raging
Groza.
Cajuns?
Lou Groza, award-winning kicker. Like, this guy's supposed to be the real deal, and he's coming out. He's been posting a lot on his Instagram story. Like, I think he's ready to go give Moody hell. Like, I don't know. I don't know if they'll end up signing him after this tryout, but for the very least, it should strike some fear in Jake Moody to say, hey, dude, they're looking at other people. I want Moody to be motivated and go out there and perform, because that's what it is. It's like, okay, you're telling him, hey, we're looking at other kickers. They brought it. Now they're bringing in this youngster. They're going to see if he can do it. They haven't got a veteran yet. They said they were going to get a veteran, but they're planting the seeds for Moody to at least coming up here in mini camp and stuff, to know, like, I got to perform out here. Because if he comes into mini camp and he wets the bed, they got Kenny the kicker ready to take his job.
Yeah, I don't know that much about him other than he had a pretty good percentage. I mean, it wasn't like I don't think he missed too many kicks. And he's a big kid. He's 250 some odd pounds.
Big boy.
It's funny. Somebody in the chat was like, Justin Tucker. Yeah, here we go. We got this one. KJ Carter. Bring in Justin Tucker. Something tells me that's not going to happen. That was an odd statement by the Ravens, though. Was it not? I mean, that was bizarre.
Well, I know that I think they really just don't know if all the allegations are true yet, because they're still going through it. And I think they realize, like, he is a good kicker. Like, he take away the allegations and everything, and you look at him in his career, he's one of their all-time great players. But if all that's true, yeah, you got to cut ties with that. It's a weird situation.
Well, I mean, I don't want the Niners to go after him. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not sure if he's innocent or guilty. I would just steer clear.
You just want to get away. Yeah, you don't want any of that drama, because it's going to be a cloud in your locker room. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, one of the things I wanted to finish with was there was a video that I'm going to work on in the next day, and that is, what do you think has been the best, the most pivotal, the most important, the best offseason addition for the Niners? What deserves? Let's take some nominations. What deserves to be on the list?
Wow, that's a good question. Robert Saleh, new defensive coordinator.
Robert Saleh definitely is on the list. He's definitely on the list. Sorensen to Saleh is a major upgrade. I mean, my God, that has to be near the top of the list. I'll give you one that I think's maybe as important as that. I think Mac Jones is really important, because I think it's really important that Brock Purdy have somebody sitting over there that's going to demand him to play his best game. Last year, you had two backup quarterbacks that really couldn't take his job. It was the first time that he didn't have somebody on the roster who was more accomplished than he was. I just think that now you got Mac Jones there, and I think it's not that Mac Jones is that great. It's what he represents. It's what he represents, a real plan B option for the 49ers at quarterback. And I think Brock understands that. So I think Mac Jones guarantees that we get to see Brock Purdy's A game. And for that reason, I think that was the best move of the offseason.
Wow, that's good. That's good. I'm going to stick with the coaching. Not only did they bring in Saleh, and he brought in his special teams coordinator, Brant Boyer, but they also brought in was it Gus Edwards, the other assistant coach. I think that's a huge addition to this team. He's been a head coach. He's been a defensive coordinator. Like, this is a big assistant to the team. So I feel like their coaching staff in general has just vastly improved, especially defense. And if you look at the tone of this draft, it was a defensive draft. I think they said, look, we really need to make sure that we fix it, because that defense couldn't stop the run. I mean, it was so anemic against stop. I know the offense wasn't great, and I know they stalled in the red zone many times, and special teams was abysmal. But there was many times where if their defense would have just held, if they would have stopped one run here, if they would have got a big play here or there, they still could have won a few games. That defense just was flailing. And I know Fred Warner played through a fractured ankle. Like, he was trying to play Superman because he knew that defense was not good enough. So they've done a great job in instilling a defensive identity through this offseason and special teams also. And I think it's because of the new coaches they've added. So the two big defensive coaches they brought in, I think were the big moves for the offseason.
Big ones for sure. If you had to say player-wise, what's your player move?
It's tough because they didn't really go crazy in free agency, but I'm going to give you a dark horse that nobody's talking about, but Jason Pinnock. I think that guy actually has an outside chance to come in and contribute right away because of the Mustafa injury. Like, we don't know if he's going to be back early week one, because of the ACL, and he's saying he's coming back, and we don't know. You don't want to rush that situation. So I think Jason Pinnock, actually, out of all the free agents, might have been an underrated signing that nobody's talking about. Nobody's giving this, pick credit, but I've seen him slowly behind the scenes at Instagram. Like, looks like he's really motivated to come in and prove himself. He wasn't a bad player in New York. He just played for New York. I think it's an underrated signing. And it's not just Mustafa, but you have a question mark on Jair Brown, who last year did not take that leap. Everybody thought he was going to be a superstar player. He was a second-round pick a couple years. He was like your crown jewel draft pick. He didn't pan out. I think Pinnock and we said earlier, Marquise Seigel, they have a chance to actually start on this secondary because there's question marks at safety. So I think that might be an underrated pickup right now.
I'm going to give you a couple that I think are really underrated. One, I really think Teron Jackson, the defensive end that was acquired last year in December, is really a good player. 6'2", 260, great athlete. And this guy was a really good player at Coastal Carolina. And he's just, he played on a bad Carolina organization. Then he played for Philly, and they're just super loaded. And he just hasn't gotten an opportunity. But this guy's got huge talent. So I like Teron Jackson. I think he is a real sleeper player for the 49ers, and one that I think is going to come out of nowhere and kind of surprise people. Another one, I kind of think that that Darrell Luter, I just really believe that Darrell Luter is just, he's way more talented than we've seen. And I just think that it's his time. It's like he had the weird bone bruise on the knee. That was strange. But I really think he's going to be an interesting guy, and I think he's going to be an interesting player this summer. But as far as new additions, I'll give you one other that I think is under the radar: Isaiah Hodgins. We're talked about DeMarcus Robinson, and obviously people are talking about this kid Nair because of the crazy athletic workout times. People have talked about Bergen because he's like a return guy, handpicked. They talked about Watkins because he's got 4.37 speed, but nobody's talking about Isaiah Hodgins. And Isaiah Hodgins is a big receiver with great hands. To me, I think this is a really good get. This guy's almost 6'4", 200 pounds. He can high point the ball. He's not a burner by any stretch, but he's got good hands. I mean, really good hands. I like him a lot more than Ronnie Bell, because Ronnie Bell was a decent hands. Of course, we all saw him drop that one last year, but Ronnie Bell's calling card was also good ball skills, good hands, but he's 5'11", 6 feet. This guy's 6'4". Niners don't have that red zone basketball player kind of post up, throw it up to him. And I think Hodgins is going to be good. I really do. I think Hodgins is going to surprise people this summer. Those are the ones that stand out to me. There was also a lot of talk about, there's going to be, they had a list of I think it was PFF had a list of guys who potentially were going to be traded. And they listed Guerendo as the 49er most likely to be traded. I don't see Garendo being traded. I don't think he's going to be the second running back. I think Jordan James and Corey Kiner are highly likely to push past Garendo potentially on the running back scale, just because Garendo's got what they don't have, but they've got what he doesn't have. He's got size and speed. They have unbelievable, running back skills without the size and speed. But I don't see Garendo being dealt. I know a lot of people think as him as taking a back seat now because of the draft, and that may be the case, but I think it would be a huge mistake to trade this guy. I like him, and to me, I think he could probably man a couple different spots.
Yeah, I think Garendo still hasn't even figured it. He didn't really start much in college. He's still a very young, raw, developing player. So I think he's still got a lot left to kind of learn. And we saw a little sample of him last year. He looked good. Just got to stay healthy, and he's got to be able to keep up with the production in terms of can he get through a majority of games. So I don't think he could be a lead back, but he's definitely a good secondary running back on a team. I wouldn't think he'd be traded. I know the two running backs we drafted, as you mentioned, are two really talented guys, but I can't see them passing up Garendo just yet. Maybe down the line, yeah. But I think Garendo right now, he's slated to be running back too, and I think he's going to take that opportunity and keep rolling. I think Kyle really likes Garendo, and we saw him last year. He got his opportunity. He played damn well when CMC and Jordan Mason came out. So I think Garendo should be slotted for a bigger year for the Niners. I couldn't see them trading him. Just because, again, they have two guys they drafted, but I just don't see them yet being in the mix to overtake Garendo yet.
Before we get your pick on Warriors T-Wolves, I'll share the screen on this one. Which team has the best chance to go from worst to first in their division this season out of these 8? We obviously are going to say the Niners. Give me one besides the Niners.
Oh, man. You know what? That's tough. I'm going to say
worst to first.
Worst to first. Obviously Niners with Niner fans, but man, looking at the draft, I maybe New England, because they had a very solid draft. They had a good draft. And if you look at that AFC East, Jets, they got a new coach. Are they even going to be better than they were last year? I don't know. They're still rebuilding over there. The Bills are great. You got to be able to compete with the Bills. And the Miami Dolphins, they're still a team they're figuring shit out too. Are they even going to win a lot of games? I don't know. So I feel like just because of the division, Patriots might have an ability to kind of leapfrog the Miami Dolphins and then the Jets. And then are they going to be able to beat the Bills? Probably not. But over those other teams, I can't see any of those guys winning many games.
I guess if I have to go with this, I would say no to New England, but Drake May gives you a shot. Yeah. I like the Raiders off season, but there's no way. There's no way the Raiders are going to beat the Chiefs.
Division's crazy.
No way. The Bears have a lot of talent, but I hate Caleb's future. I'm not a Caleb guy. So no to the Bears. The Browns just no way. The Browns just no. So then it's that one of those other 3 teams, New York Giants. No way. New York Giants. That's with Russell Wilson. I don't see that.
No way.
Saints. No. I guess if I had to go with one, I'd go with Cam Ward and the Titans to have some miraculous first year and somehow potentially get some kind of momentum going. And maybe Houston has an injury, and because Houston's the only team in that division that would scare me, I think. So I guess I would go with a wild stab that Cam Ward is awesome, like Jaden Daniels last year, and leads the Titans to some surprising season, maybe. What do you think?
I was leaning towards the Titans as my other pick, just because that division is the Colts, the Jaguars. That's an abysmal division. All those divisions really not too great, other than the AFC West. That's why I don't think the Raiders, there's no way they're taking over that AFC West.
All right, Raj, last one. Warriors T-Wolves begin tonight, game 1. I'll be going post game live afterwards with the roundtable. You're popping your jersey there. The Warriors got away from Houston in 7, and now they get a very rested T-Wolves team. This series goes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So there's one day off in the first 3 games of the series. What do you think? What do you envision? Warriors were favored to beat the Rockets despite the fact they were the 7 seed and the Rockets were the 2. The Warriors are not favored to win this series. The T-Wolves are favored. What do you think? What's your prediction on this series? What's key?
So obviously they beat the Rockets and they own the Rockets 5-0 against them in the playoffs under the Steph Curry, era. Amazing. But shifting gears, Ant-Man, I'm nervous. He's a good player. He's probably the future face of the league. He's 23. He's calling himself the legend killer. He thinks he's Randy Orton. It's going to be tough. I think the Warriors can pull this out because they have the experience. Minnesota's defense isn't as physical as the Warriors, but you got to understand the Warriors just went to 7. Their legs, how much juice do they have? That's going to hurt them. The Warriors are the older team here, so that's going to kind of catch up with them. Those first 3 games, you have to at least get one on the road and be able to split those first 2 games. So can they? If they do, they got a shot to take this. And you can never count out Steph Curry. And now you got playoff Jimmy, who looks really damn good with this team. I don't know. If they can hit their shots and get a third scorer like Pods or Buddy Hield, like the other game, Game 7 Buddy, I think they can do it. I hope they can play Looney a little bit more because they need the size to match with Minnesota because they got a lot of size up front. So I'm worried about Ant-Man. I'm not going to lie to you. He's a good player. I got a lot of respect for him. He talks trash. He backs it up. But I got Warriors in 6, man. Let's go.
Look at that. Raj is going Warriors in 6. Tama Kenji is going Warriors in 6. I'm also going Warriors in 6. Buddy freaking Hield wins the MVP of the series. Warriors in 6. For Raj, I'm Larry. Give a like and subscribe on your way out the door. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to LearnKey. We'll be doing rookie minicamp stuff later in the week. If you haven't caught my interview with Brian Baldinger, it's got over 10,000 views, Kev said. It's been up since, I think, this morning. Check that out on the Krug Show. Thanks to everybody. See you later. We'll see you after the Warriors hopefully win game 1. For Raj, I'm Larry. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get it.